When planning for end of life, ensuring your legacy follows your wishes is very important. But during that planning, you may have questions like, which is better for your estate, a trust company or your kids acting as executors? Joining us to discuss estate planning strategies is Peter Sashecki from Everything Financial. Good morning, Peter. Good to see you.
Good morning, Carrie.
Okay, this is an important conversation. So for those who are wondering, how soon should people start talking and thinking about will and estate planning?
Really, I mean, when you first have a family, you should start the will. And usually an executor at that point, when the kids are young, is going to be a family member, a brother, a sister, aunt, uncle, something like that. But as you get older and the kids are now the adults, then the question becomes a lot of times with people, which one of the kids do I put that duty on? And which one of them is going to be the executor? And that's when all the fun starts.
Oh, yes, the fun, as you put it. Okay, so let's talk more about that fun. What is better for one's estate, to use a trust company or to use an adult child as an executor?
Well, if you only have one child, then you're probably okay with just the one child being the executor, because there's not going to be a lot of drama if it's all left to that one child. But when there are children, or multiple adult children, if you will, that's when we see all the problems happen, where someone feels they're in control of the estate. Someone feels they deserve more because they may have helped look after mom or dad more in the last year, or someone lived in the house and feel they deserve part of that house for what they did. A trust company can just look after your wishes and keep the kids talking, because it's your wishes that are being looked after, not maybe one of your kids' other agendas.
Okay, so let's talk about the difference between a trust versus a normal executor. Like, are there fees involved? Do you have to pay a normal executor? And what about a trust? How does that work?
Yeah, and there is one of the big differences, Carrie, where an executor, so your kids, could take up, well, they can, they in BC, up 5% the cost of the estate can go to the executor. But some of the really good trust companies are charging 3% on, like, around the first couple $1 million, and then a lower percentage after that. So they're actually doing the duty for potentially a lower cost to your estate than your kids may charge. But also they know what they're doing. They can do it quicker, more efficiently, not maybe make some of the mistakes when it comes to filing taxes and going through those things. And one thing to know is these trust companies aren't getting paid until you actually pass away and they start to do the executor duty. So even though you could put them together and list everything out and hire the trust company, sign the documents, they may not get paid for the next 15 years, depending how long you live. So they're really a good way to use it, a good way to save your estate some costs and some time.
All right. And do people use a bank versus a trust company for executing a will?
Sometimes they do, but what we've noticed in doing some of the research is some of these banks are charging that fee, that 5% executor fee. We saw one where the quotes were another $70,000 in different fees that the bank was charging to do the duties that would be, shown to be better executed by the trust company, where that's all the trust company does. There's no agenda to looking after investments or doing other things. They're just looking after the duties of the executor, which is definitely, that's what you want to hire someone for. Just one job to get that one job done cost effectively and very efficiently.
And, it's it's something that you don't really want to have to plan for, but if you don't plan for it, and then you're leaving the mess for someone else to deal with, so best to deal with it now while you still can.
Yeah, and there's nightmare stories. I mean, tons of them where kids don't talk anymore. They fight. I've seen estates that have taken, just because the child didn't want to do it, 8-9 years to sell the parents' home, which not even filing probate for 8 or 9 years, which there's a whole other issue there. So if you get someone else to do it, maybe there's a better chance your kids won't end up fighting and never talk to each other again, which is what you don't want when you're leaving a legacy.
Oh, no kidding. Want to keep the family together. Peter Sashecki with Everything Financial, thanks so much for the advice this morning. Have a great day.
Thanks, Gary. Have a great day.